Monkey.
Hello everyone, this is Codename Monkey bringing you another Path of Exile video. This one is going to be a bit short. I just wanted to look at Tujen, look at ROG. I have some of their currencies that they use to re-roll their inventory. As you can see, I have 6 exotic coinage for Tujen, and for ROG I have 8 scrap metal. So I did want to kind of go through these and just see what all we can get out of these. Again, Tujen, if you haven't seen the previous videos, he's the one that has primarily currencies that you can buy. He also has things like this, like fossils, scarabs, and divination cards. Obviously, there's more than just that, but that just kind of highlights the types of things that we can see. I did try to haggle with him in the last video. I re-rolled his inventory quite a few times, and I was currently looking for a divine orb. We didn't get that, so I'm hopeful that we can get it this time around. I know we only have 6 exotic coinage, but again, I think I don't know, I just feel like we're close to a divine. So let's start with him, and then we'll go over to ROG and we'll see if we can make any kind of unique items that we can sell. So right off the bat, I see there's the 6 stack decks here, and I know they are for the exceptional scythe artifacts, but it's always good to get these. Right now I believe these are going for 2.6 chaos each. Let me look at the price here. Yeah, so 2.6 chaos per stack deck currently. Typically you're probably only going to get 2.5 just because 2.6 is kind of a weird number demographic. So the other stuff in here, it doesn't look very appealing to me, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next one.
Always love these exotic.
Okay, that's good. A lot of chaos here.
I'm not yet sure why not. Seems
Nice.
reasonable.
And as I stated in a previous video, this Tujen's inventory and getting these exotic coinage and stuff, this is a great way for you to earn currency early on in the leagues.
Got some more?
So let's see, 2 chaos.
Happy about it.
Let's look at this gem, 12%. So that is not good. So we'll go ahead and continue.
Got some more?
Nice, got more chaos.
I'm in a haggling mood. I'll take it. Pleasure doing business with you.
All right. I do actually want these fusings. I've been trying to get quite a few 6 links recently, so I am low on those. I'm also low on blessed orbs, so I want to get these as well. I probably already skipped through some of these, but I just remembered that I need them.
Got some more?
More fusings, excellent. Keep in mind too, the inventory is sorted from least expensive to most expensive, and it's reading from right to left. So starting here is the cheapest, going up it gets more expensive. What I mean by that is it starts with lesser, goes to greater, grand, and exceptional. Some of these inventories, like this one for example, doesn't go to exceptional, it just goes up to grand, and that is going to happen quite a bit. As I stated also in a previous video, these ancient orbs here, they're currently being sold for nearly 10 chaos apiece. So if you ever see something like this, you definitely want to pick it up. Even if you're not going to use it, it's always good to sell. So that's, like I said, nearly 10 more chaos right there banked. And as you can see, they're being pretty generous with the chaos this time around. Still no divine orb, but I am not losing hope. One thing I always pick up too, it's up to you whether you grab these or not, essences. Obviously you're going to use essence for crafting, and so I always try and get these whenever I see them. Okay, nothing else I need. Okay, so here's a special map. I always get these because this one, for example, this one's being sold for 15 up to 20 and even higher for the chaos. So I always try and get these maps. 62 there. Nice. Another thing you want to focus on getting, see how there's these 3 awakened sextants. These are also very valuable as well. So currently these are being sold for 6.6 chaos each. So that's like roughly 18, 19, 20 chaos right here just for these 3. So you do want to get those. Again, fusings. Grabbing those. And we are out of exotic coinage. So unfortunately we still didn't get a divine. But let's just kind of count up what we got. So the 6 stack decks, so we're just going to say each of these are 2.5. So 15 there, 35, 47, I'm not going to count these. 47. Let's just say 57. What about these essence? I'm going to use these, but for the value here. So these aren't really worth it. 57. And then this map will just say 15. So that's going to be 72. And let's say these are 18. So 90 chaos. Just from these, all the things that I'm going to use, I'm not including in that. So, like I said, I mean, that was like, what, 6 or 7 exotic coinage, and we made almost 100 chaos from that. That's really good. So, I'm just going to quickly deposit these things here, and we will continue with ROG. Okay, so let's deal for items. I did build up a few exceptional order artifacts, because, as mentioned in the previous video, these are what he uses to upgrade certain modifiers on the item. So we're just going to look through these. Usually what I'm looking for is a specific attribute, like if it's high strength, high intelligence, high dexterity. And then if there's boots, you obviously want to see if we can get the move speed on there. 15%, that's not that great. We're looking for 25%, 30%. And then we're also looking for high value of the resistances. So in this case, there's a chaos resistance here. There's also the strength attribute, increased armor, and then flat armor. So let's just try and build on this one. Let's see what we can come up with.
A carefully applied rune of
So it wants to remove this one. That's fine because it's not that great. A prefix 3 times, but only keeps best outcome. So I don't want to reroll these because those are the 2 stats I want to keep. I want to try and see if we can upgrade them to higher tiers. We'll skip that one. Upgrade the level of 3 modifiers by 1 tier. So if this hits the chaos resistance and strength, that'll be really good. So it hit the strength, it did not hit the chaos resistance, but that's fine. Add a prefix 5 times. Okay. Upgrade the level of 3 modifiers by 1. So again, if it hits the attribute and the chaos resistance, that's really good. Okay, so it did hit the chaos, but not the strength attribute, and add a suffix. Okay, that's garbage. Reroll the modifier values. Always want to do that. So now the strength is at 37, so that's good. And then this is the last craft. You can't skip it. So usually if it's one that you don't want, you just want to take the item. But in this one, upgrade the level of 3 modifiers by 1. Again, we want it to be the strength attribute and the chaos resistance. So it was the strength. It was not the chaos. But as you can see, I mean, we have increased armor. Obviously, when we get the quality to this item to 20%, that will increase the overall as well. And there's just quite a few tier 1 stats here. So the chaos resistance is one of them. The cold damage to attacks, increased stun and block recovery, and then the gain mana per kill. So what you want to do is you want to filter in the stats that you think are the most valuable and just kind of see on the market where it fares in terms of prices. So I searched it by the total armor, which is 447, the total chaos resist, which is 31%, and then the strength, which is 41. And the lowest price item here is 50 chaos, and it goes to 150, 1 divine, 2 divine, 4 divine, etc. Another thing you can do to increase the value of these items is put in an attribute, or a modification rather, that will help increase the overall price or value. In this case, we don't have room for one, so what's on here is what they're going to get. Another thing that I like to do if I'm going to sell anything is obviously I will increase the quality to 20%. If it's corrupted, it can go up to 30. And then I want to increase the sockets to maximum. And since this is only a 4 link, it's pretty straightforward. It's a lot easier to get than the 6 links, so we'll just link them together. And now when someone looks on the marketplace, or PoTrade rather, they're going to see that this one's already at 20%, it's already 4 linked, and it's already got all of its sockets. So it's just going to entice people to buy your item just a little bit more, because they don't want to buy an item and then work on it as soon as they get it. So let's see if that increased the overall value. So again, it's still showing 50, 150, 1 divine. And if you want to sell something quickly, what you're going to want to do is put it in here, and let's just say we'll list it for, let's just say 65 chaos. So now mine is the second to the cheapest, and it also it gives the player some good stats. Obviously not all of them are going to be usable by this person, However, it's still a cheap option for them to get something nice, and until they get their in-game upgrade. So that's a good first item there, and hopefully we can see if that sells in this video. So going back in here, let's see what we can find with other items here. So like this one could be good because it has increased maximum life, and then it has all those resistances. The thing that I'm worried about with this one is it will probably want to change all of these. So that's one outcome, but another outcome could be that it's just not going to upgrade these tiers enough for it to be worth it. So as you can see, the resistance tiers are at tier 6, but we'll go ahead and just try it out, and it'll be like seeing this is what I was talking about. It already wants to try and get rid of these. So in this case, since they're so low tier, normally I would want to keep the chaos resistance, but since they're so low, I will go ahead and roll these.
Allow me to take my ruined hammer to this thing's tail end.
Okay, so now we have a tier 2, a tier 1, and a tier 2. The regenerate life is good. Stun and block recovery is good, and then chance to block is also good. So we're going to skip this one.
I recently received
Add a prefix.
Rare golden
So increased evasion rating, tier 3. We'll add another prefix.
If I hammer on this thing's front end,
so it's wanting to re-roll these 10 times, keeping the best outcomes. In this case, I want to go ahead and keep these because these attributes here that they have, or these modifiers rather, they're generally pretty good already. So we're just going to skip that. And see, this is what I was referring to by they might try and re-roll twice in a row. So in this case, I'm just not even going to upgrade. I'm just going to take the item. And let's kind of see what we got here for this one. So it's got, wow, it's got a lot of evasion. It's got 38% block, which is a tier 2. So I'm going to filter it by life and then life regeneration. So actually, let's take out the evasion rating. Okay, so with the max life and the regenerated life per second, it's actually still pretty low. So we're going to also add in the tier 1 increased stun and block recovery. So now it's kind of narrowing it down. And then we will also increase the block 38%. So now it's showing that there's none. And you just kind of have to like look through to see what all you can come up with in terms of looking at prices. And for anyone curious, I can also post the link to the application I'm using to check prices. I will put that in the description because one of the biggest things that I struggled with when I first started was price checking and figuring out how to price my items. And it does help quite a bit. So this is going to be a good shield or like a tankier build. Obviously, there's no specific stats that are shown here that are for any build specific, and so this is kind of like a well-rounded shield for just defenses and things like that. I'm just going to put it up for sale, and I'm going to set it to, let's say 40 chaos. And again, I mean, these prices are, there's no guarantee that you're going to sell these things because since the league has been out for a while, people are looking for in-game specific items. But there still is a chance that people might buy the smaller priced items. So I would take this one normally, but since the dexterity is so low, actually, you know what? This is a good example. Let's go ahead and just do this one. Remove 2. Okay, so this will remove 2 of the lowest. So that's a tier 9 and a tier 6. So I want to do that.
Lucky day, Exile.
I do not want to remove the prefixes because that's actually a good one.
A small extra
Upgrade level of modifier by 1 tier. So it's going to put one of those 2 at tier 1. I'm hoping they do the fire resistance. It did. Nice. Add a prefix 5 times. Oh, we're not going to re-roll that to tier 1 resistance. You don't want to do that.
Something quite interesting happens when you apply
Add a prefix, yes. Okay, that's max life. I wish it was higher tier, but you know, it is what it is. Nice. So now we got maximum on the resistance is 48%. A random incubator. I mean, I guess this is a good thing to do if you're just trying to sell the item because it will entice people once again to buy the item. And an example of this one, since there's only 4 modifiers, there's 3 prefixes and 1 suffix. So what you could go in here and do is you could put the item in here, and you actually have a lot of good options to choose from. Obviously, you could do another resistance, which is what some people do. Another option for that specifically would be these dual resistances giving additional chaos resistance. This is really popular. So you just would look at your lowest resistance, non-chaos resistance, see what that is, and then pick and choose according. And then what people also do is they will put catalysts on here for resistances to increase overall. Since this is a rare, it would be a waste to do that because those are, I believe, going for 8 to 9 chaos per catalyst. So that'd be a waste of your resources. So what I'm going to do here, since this is looking like it's going to be more of a dexterity build, we are going to put attributes on here. So let's see. So I like dex and strength. Strength gives you additional health, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for this one. We're gonna obviously try for 25. 24, I mean, that's close enough. You know, you don't want to spend all of your currency to put in those things, especially if you're just going to turn around and sell it. One other tip I can give when selling items, just to increase it a little bit more in value, you go to your exotic tab here, or if you just have regular tabs, you find the Eldritch Ichor and then the Eldritch Embers. And usually you want to start with lesser just to give it an additional stat, but I like using the greater, so we're going to do one of each. Okay, so we weren't able to get it, but that's fine. So this is actually a really good one, especially for builds like Righteous Fire. Ignites you, inflict spread to other enemies within a radius of 13. This is targeting a specific type of build. So for gloves like this, it's not super good to do that because, I mean, to my knowledge, I don't really know if there's any fire-based projectile builds out there. I'm sure there are, like, popular ones, but to my knowledge, this wouldn't be a great choice for gloves, at least in my own opinion. So we're going to keep trying. So that would have actually been a great one to keep, the mine throwing speed, or trap throwing speed. So yeah, we're going to actually keep this one. So again, this is targeting a specific build based around traps, and there is a few builds to my knowledge that involve traps that are really good here. So this is kind of what we're going to keep here. And let's see. Another thing to keep in mind here is the chaos orbs here. If the Searing Exile is dominant, reroll prefix modifiers. If Eater of Worlds is dominant, reroll suffix mods. So if you see some prefixes in here you like, what you can do is you can increase the quality of the embers or the ichors that you're putting in your mods, and then use this to kind of roll off the bad mods. In this case, I'm not going to do that because I like what I have here. And we're just going to do another quick price check. So I'm seeing one in here for 100 chaos, filtering in that 9% increased trap throwing speed, as well as the maximum life, and then the elemental resistances. We're not going to sell it for 100. We're actually going to just try and sell it for 80. So let's go ahead. We'll throw it in here. Okay. So let's try one more here, and then we will wrap it up. So let's see if I can find a weapon we can use. So let's look at these bows here. So this is actually really good. The +1 to level socketed gems. Those other ones are pretty low. And then this is good for the damage. So let's try our hands at this one. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're looking at his inventory, keep track of the item level. This one's 84, so we're kind of missing out on some of the level 85. Actually, let's choose this one for the example, since this one's item level 85. Okay, so upgrade the level modifier by 1 tier. Let's do that. Nice, so we have a tier 1 increased damage with poison and then chance to poison on hit. Upgrade level 2 modifiers.
Allow me to take
Okay,
my
so
rude
that's
hammer to this thing's tail end.
reroll. No, so we want to keep poison because I know there are some builds that rely on poison, so we'll skip that one.
Quite messy. Shall I engrave multiple runes?
Since
of
this is a tier 9
nullification?
fire and then a tier 7 physical with accuracy, we are going to get rid of these because they are not going to be upgraded all the way by the time we get there.
I've a feeling that if I hammer on
This one's tier 8, so we do want to re-roll this one.
Something quite
Nice, so now we got a tier
interesting when
4
you apply a
fire,
drop.
the
A carefully
prefix.
applied rune of nullification
Cold
can do
damage.
wonders for this product's overall quality.
That's a tier 9, so we don't want that.
A small etched rune
Upgrade level 1 modifier by 1. So since this the poison one is tier 1, the only choice it has is the fire, so it'll go to tier 3.
A few small runes in the right
Reroll
places
modifier
can do
values. We do want to
wonders.
do that. As you can see, this one didn't roll too well. It does have the tier 1 poison, but that isn't going to be good enough for this to be a good seller. So in this instance, I'm just going to set this one to the side. I do want to do one more example just so we can see Okay, so we have this thicket bow here. They have increased resistances. I'm actually going to do this quiver too because this is a nice quiver. It's got the totem placement speed, which is for a very specific build. So we're going to work on this one too. But first we're going to hit this thicket bow. The starting stats just aren't that great, but we will see what we can come up with. Reroll this. Yeah, that's a tier 10. We want to get rid of that. Now it's a tier 2 cold. That's good. Set quality of 20. That's fine. Reforge 5 sockets. Remove 2 modifiers. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Reroll this. It's tier 2. I'm going to keep it. Reroll modifier values. Nice. Okay, now we have a tier 2 critical strike. Now we have 50 dexterity. That's really good. So these 3 stats are actually pretty decent for this type of bow. Obviously, we want to get more than that. But for a starting section, that's not too bad, especially since we're going to want to use the crucible mechanic to see what we can get for a skill tree. So last, we're just going to do this quiver here. Again, it's based on a specific type of build. So we're going to try and build it around that increased totem placement speed and general projectile type modifiers like dexterity, critical strike, things like that. So 2 modifiers by 1, yes. We're going to remove this one because it's low tier. Nice, so we have a tier 1 projectile speed. We have a tier 1 mana per enemy killed, which is not that great. We have a tier 1 health. That's really good. And then a tier 4 dexterity. And then damage with both skills. That's good too.
Allow me to take my ruined hammer to this thing's tail end.
So we're not going to roll these just because I like those. I mean, the mana per killed enemy, that's not that great, but I like the other 2 that have their modifier value is nice. So that went up to the maximum there. I don't want to re-roll these either just because they're really good. If I could get rid of the polished tier 7 damage physical, I would like to do that, but I'm not going to get rid of the other ones. Okay, nice. We got max on health. Nice. Okay, so let's see what we got here. This is actually really nice. So we got the 99 health. We have the increased projectile speed, and then we have increased damage with bow skills, and then totem placement speed. So that one actually comes up not being sold with that combination. That's really nice. I'm just trying to see what I can come up with. Wow, it's not bringing up any of them on the market. It's looking like with just the health, dexterity, and totem placement speed, cheapest one is 100 chaos. I'm actually going to keep this in lieu of a projectile build that I will be making here in the near future. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I will be starting my crafting series, and so this is kind of a little grain of salt in terms of the seasoning to that series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.